Okay, I'm going to tell you who told me to do this.
Okay.
Taraji P. Henson told me almost 17 years ago. She was like, never heard of her. She said, girl, you put you like a little bit of money away, and what you do is you go to these Beverly Hills pawn shops.
Yeah.
This was $200 at a Beverly Hills pawn shop. And the first person who ever told me that, she was like, girl, you need some diamonds. Yeah. You need some good ones. Yeah. Not these and the only way you get these good diamonds and not something that has been a blood diamond, if the blood diamond already exists, get the one from 50 years ago that's in a better setting.
Yo, hey, what we gon' slap today? Yo.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to Slap the Power. I'm Rick Barrio-Dill.
I'm Maya Sykes. And today we are continuing our conversation on fast fashion. So we all know that fast fashion is no bueno. But what do we do about it? And why is it no bueno? We know that on a large scale, it's causing disastrous environmental concerns. It's pushing the American culture specifically, if not globally, let's be honest, to being over consumers on a massive scale that is destroying us financially. It's destroying us economically. And we're running out of room to put all this crap. Like, let's be real. Yeah. These pieces aren't getting recycled properly. They're not getting disposed of properly. So we're literally sending our trash overseas and telling other people, you deal with it. So let's just get into some of these statistics. Okay. So back in the back in like the 90s, let's say, because that's really when it changed over. Yeah. The American household bought between 10 to 15 pieces of clothing and 1 to 3 pairs of shoes.
If you were lucky.
Yeah. And that was if you were lucky. Yeah. And, if you were a child like me, what didn't fit you in the Huskies department, you had to get made. She was, she's a thick girl. She's thick.
Hey.
It is what it is.
Hey.
But by 2013, we went from that number to buying on average 68 pieces of clothing and 7 pairs of shoes, which is an increase of over 70%. And by 2023, we are now averaging 77 pieces of clothing and 8 pairs of shoes. So that is an increase in a decade of over 13%, right? And we're doing that because of shops like Shein, Temu, Fashion Nova, and the push in 2013 to get so many pieces of clothing came from places like Topshop and Zara and H&M. But even then, Topshop, Zara, and H&M had clothing that was in a price point where maybe the cheapest article of clothing that wasn't an accessory was, let's say, $25, and then you had pieces that probably topped out at around $200 to $300. But now with the introduction of things like Shein, Temu, Fashion Nova, some of these other sites, clothing is as little as $5, right?
Yeah, for the what looks like it's fashionable shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And people are like, ooh, I can buy 14 things on Wish.com and look like Kim Kardashian. But then you get that stuff and you're like, no. Because I remember seeing this one dude and he tried to get a Black Panther costume off of Wish, and he looked like the brown bear. It was just a hot tragedy. So
I like and the marketing side of things is incredibly interesting to me because I understand it. We've talked about this before. We're hypocrites as artists. We create as a nature of our beings, but we create our merchandise and we create, that's the largest means for us to survive. And so I'm interested because you kind of say to yourself, why do I have to pay attention to fast fashion? It's like, for all of us as artists or consumers of the bands that we like, the artists that we like and stuff like that, there are options for us that are out there that I didn't even know about. So I've been realizing and learning in real time, and that's another reason why I'm so happy to go over that subject.
Yes, and because of that, we also want to present solutions.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we can't just tell you about the calamity of the world and be like, okay, bye.
Right.
So to that end, we asked a wonderful friend of ours to join us. And if you don't know about her, I would really like you to. So let's just get into this fabulous lady right here.
Yes, in studio. What?
We are so privileged, right?
Yeah.
To be able to discuss this topic with a world-class viola and violinist player whose all-female quartet, the Orchid Quartet, found a way to provide sustainable merchandise to their fans. Please help us welcome the incredible Miss Kiarra Anna.
Yeah,
hey.
Kiarra!
So going back to just some of these statistics, okay, one of the things that I know I've talked about with you is that people are saying fast fashion is affordable. But if we really look down at the breakdown, no, it isn't. It's just using enslaved people to make the clothing affordable.
Fully.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So one thing that you were talking about that I also do is clothing swaps. Can we talk about that?
Clothing swaps are some of my favorite things to do.
Yes.
I host one probably every few months, maybe like once a quarter, because it's kind of like to bring in the new season.
Yes.
So we just had one for like spring cleaning kind of
Right.
vibes, and it feels really good when you are. So the overarching vibe of a clothing swap is that you go through your wardrobe that you have, and you think, oh, I haven't worn this in over a year. My body feels different right now. I'm probably not going to wear this for a little bit. I'll just, I don't need it right now. Or this jacket, I don't like it anymore. I bought it 2 years ago and I've worn it too much. Or I really love this thing, but it's been on my body too many times, et cetera, et cetera. So then you bring all that stuff to my house, and then we set up a whole kind
Her
of like
address
showroom.
will be in the show
Yeah,
notes. Don't worry about it.
don't worry. We set up like a whole showroom. So we have like jeans over here, and then pants, and then skirts and dresses and shirts, and it's a ton of clothes. It's quite wild, honestly. And I invite a bunch of people, and then people kind of come through, and I have snacks, and we have tea, and we just shop each other's wardrobes. And
Honestly, that sounds so fun.
That sounds
it's so fun.
So productive and fun.
It
It's
is.
amazing.
And it's also, as artists, I feel like we are stuck a lot in the space of when we are seeing our friends, it's like on jobs. And we don't often, because we're so in the hustle culture also because of where we live, we don't often just get to spend time with our colleagues when it isn't like for a paycheck.
Yeah.
So this type of thing feels so nice because it's like rejuvenating your wardrobe and connecting with your friends, and it's not for a gig. And then you go home and you have like 2 new bags of clothes, and it's so exciting. And to be like part of the best part of it is like it'll be like sisterhood of the traveling whatever, because like someone will try on like a dress, and they'll be like, it doesn't really fit me quite right, like you try it on, and then you see it on like 4 different people, and then eventually it gets to someone where it's just like, that looks
Amazing.
so good on you,
Right.
and then the original owner is like, oh my god, that's so cool, like it's gonna get a whole nother life with you. And so it's just a really cool, and obviously it's free because you're just recycling and reusing. And then I take everything after that and I either donate it to Goodwill or to Out of the Closet. And yeah, it's great. I mean, the other day I took some stuff the leftover to Goodwill, and there was this man outside of Goodwill who obviously was experiencing homelessness, and he was just like, hey, like, what do you have there? And I was like, it's a lot of women's clothing. And he's like, I have a girlfriend. And I was like, okay. And I like handed him a few bags. And as I was leaving, he was like looking through it and putting things to the side. And I was like, oh, our clothing swap like made it to this man, and hopefully some of his community. Yeah.
That's amazing. Plus, you give the guy some props coming back to his girl,
Okay,
right?
totally. Like, baby, look what I hustled up for you.
That's right. Hustler.
Because true love. You need these H&M jeans from 4 years ago.
Exactly.
The part of me that is also intrigued is how to move forward as an artist, because we are lucky we're in charge of our merch design and everything like that. But the suppliers and where you get things, when you start drilling down to the next level, it gets a little more complicated. And then if you go one level deeper than that, it's like it gets super complicated, because sometimes sometimes they're farming this out to
fully,
and they're greenwashing you. Lots of
greenwashing
companies,
you,
and if you don't,
yeah.
for those of you that don't know what greenwashing is, a lot of fast fashion brands are saying, we hear you that the environment is important. So they put up a green background and some baby cows around, and they have some little skinny lady go around in something that's all organic cotton, and that's their consciously sustainable
or they say,
model.
Like, 2% recycled
Bam.
bamboo fibers
right there,
or something,
right
and you're
there.
like, this is great.
But when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, over half of their stuff is still not being recycled. It's still being thrown away within 1 year of use, right? And that's something that has only happened in the last 2 decades,
Not with a clothing swap.
But
that's how you do that.
This is a thing that I wanted to discuss from both of your perspectives, because you both are in groups that found ways to have sustainable merchandise, not just your design. So can you both get into how you found that and why?
Totally,
I'm here to learn from you.
This was important to us as a group that wanted to create merchandise for sale at our performances, and we thought about it a lot, and we thought about how we could try to be at least a little bit more sustainable. And it's hard because it's the solution that we have come up with could be a lot better, and we are constantly trying to do better. But what we have found is a wonderful shop in Philadelphia. They're called Print Natural, and they print on only cotton and organic clothing, and then we pay the extra little bit to have these pieces that are made in the U.S. And they only print, they don't do digital printing, they only print, it's like this other way of printing that is less toxic for the environment. So that was a point for us too. That was like important to us, because you think about the process that these clothing goes through before it is ready to be worn. And it's a lot. There's a, especially with jean. Jean is a very sort of like well-known product that goes through a lot and creates a lot of toxic toxins and the energy, with the energy and creating toxins into the environment. And that's not great. So yeah, we just try to, as much as we can, support these like smaller businesses, and they're still sourcing their clothing from companies, but then you can choose on their website, for example, which company you want to source the clothing from that they're going to be printing it onto, your design onto. And so we try to choose the companies that are, in the US and that are using more organic materials, et cetera.
So that's almost like what we were just talking about. That's almost like the second level, right? So
we're trying.
You have to sort of filter through it a little bit.
Totally. There
but
are
at least
also,
it's available to you.
Right. Yeah. I've found out about a few other artists that are a little bit more high profile that are doing really cool things with their merchandise. Like that band, the 1975.
Yeah.
They played this, or maybe it was on a whole tour, because you have to have, it's hard because you have to have the money to be able to support that whatever movement you're doing, or that cause. And this was really important to them, and that's so cool. So at a few of the festivals that they were playing, if you brought your own shirt, they would live screen print their merch onto it.
Yeah, that's what's up. My girl Maya, she brought in to the studio for us to have an iron, and that's what we're doing. We're going to be doing iron on the site.
Yes.
Yeah, slapthepower.com.
That's so cool.
Go
yeah.
hit them up for your iron-ons. But yeah, it's killer, right?
That's so cool. Yeah. And then I also have a really great friend that's a producer who his idea is that he goes and thrifts. And so and then he has a pattern that goes, or a few patterns that go onto his merch. And so every piece is unique, which I think is so cool. So he goes.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, so it's like extra work for him for sure. And then, when you're purchasing, it's like one of one. So that's a little harder for sizing, but it's still great. You can still do a really wide range when you're thrifting.
I would think you could also put that in a sort of special bin in your merch category.
Totally.
That would allow you to partition that off.
Right.
So, which it'd be special to the fans.
Yeah.
And it, like you said, it's one-on-one pieces that he chose and
Which
curated.
is so cool.
It's so cool.
I love that idea too.
Yeah, those are a few ideas of like ways that I've been kind of turning my cogs in my mind of like, okay, how can we what's the next step? What's the next level?
And how do the fans pick up on it?
It's great. I mean, when people come to our merch table, we make sure to say this is all printed on recyclable. We have these canvas bags, and we're they're obviously they're reusable bags, but that they are recycled bags
as well,
made out of recycled material. Yes, and that they're printed with non-toxic dye, and people react really well to it. I mean, when people come over and they have their hand on something and they're already interested in it, they're probably going to buy it anyway because they're interested in it. But then when we say those things, they're like, oh, yay.
And I can even prove that because I did a show with them.
You were the best hype woman.
And I just said, it's freezing and they got beanies.
She was wearing a beanie.
I sure was. I wore it the entire, every show.
That's what I saw in the Nextdoor app, right?
Yeah.
That's the beanie.
Oh, have you seen that? That Nextdoor app?
Yeah.
So I would check. So somebody was like, "Oh, you should check this out in your neighborhood or whatever." And I was like, "I ain't trying to say Nextdoor is a little racist, but when I checked it, I saw a figure, and I was like, "Oh, that's me." Yeah. I was walking Gene Coy's dog because Gene Coy's dog Rico stays with me a lot, right? And I'm walking Rico in a beanie and a hoodie.
Watch out for this
cold.
thug.
Wait, that was the post? It was like, watch out for this.
Watch out for this.
It was like this shady character, and I was like, for real? I probably lived here longer than y'all.
Oh my God.
So I was like,
and she could sing better than all y'all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It was giving
wow. Wow.
I digress.
It was giving
Yeah, it really is.
One thing that I wanted to talk about that you brought up that I think is really important is that the company that you were going through manufactures in Philadelphia or tries to.
Yeah, so their printing is in Philadelphia, and then they source from different. So they've also already done that one step deeper dig. So they're only representing companies that they feel good about, which is cool for us.
Yes,
because people are always doing. If you look enough, people are always doing the next step of research, which is great.
Right.
So yeah, they're in Philly. It feels a little ridiculous, honestly, for us because we're here in LA and there are like made in Los Angeles clothes, and I have dug deep here. And every time I call a place here, they're like, oh, we, everything gets printed overseas. And I just like cannot find that, but I'm sure that it is super.
I should put you in contact with a friend of mine named Antoine because he does printing here in downtown.
Yeah. Okay, great.
And even if you did like got the shirts from a sourceable place, like he does great printing press. And so,
cool.
actually, let's put it's called Print Natural, the company we use.
Yeah.
So in our show notes, we'll put access to both my friend
great.
Antoine and to Print Naturals because we also want to tell people that this is something that if more of us needle at, maybe we will have more options. It is so hard to talk about this nefarious thing looming over our heads without just feeling like I can't do anything. But we're learning that, we can do clothing swaps and looking at sustainable manufacturing. So maybe we should just talk about some other options that we're personally doing.
Totally.
In response to this. So what have been some of yours?
Yeah. So I guess it's not something that I've made like a hard and fast rule, but I cannot remember the last time I bought a new article of clothing. I did buy running shoes new.
You kind of have to.
You kind of have to.
So that was
blow
like
a wheel out.
Yeah, totally. I was like, okay, fine, I'll buy new running shoes.
Yeah.
But I thrift like basically 100% of my clothes. And since I tour so much, it makes it so much more fun because literally when we land in a city, I'm just like thrift stores, like wherever we are. And this goes across Europe. Like I was just in Europe for 1 month and I packed just a carry-on and a backpack. And I tried to leave a little space because I knew that I would go thrifting. And I found some incredible fun pieces. I feel like I wouldn't call myself like a really fashionable person who can go into a thrift store and find like the piece that is going to, go onto the red carpet or whatever. But I'm really good at finding like, nice options for things and just filling out my wardrobe in that way. And so, yeah, thrifting is huge for me. Clothing swaps are huge for me.
That's a
For
fun
the higher end stuff, though, I've been going to these consignment stores.
Totally.
And consignment stores can get it.
Fully. And
They
we're
can
really
get it.
lucky to live in Los Angeles, too, because the quality of clothing, the amount of money that is in this city that people are just like, I don't want this anymore. Totally. Those consignment stores or like Wasteland or the...
No, but I go to this ring. Okay, I'm going to tell you who told me to do this.
Okay.
Taraji P. Henson told me almost 17 years ago. She was like, never heard of her. She said, girl, you put you like a little bit of money away, and what you do is you go to these Beverly Hills pawn shops.
Yeah.
That's
this was
genius.
$200 at a Beverly Hills pawn shop. And the first person who ever told me that, she was like, girl, you need some diamonds.
Yeah.
You need some good ones.
Yeah.
Not these like, and the only way you get these good diamonds and not something that has been a blood diamond, if the blood diamond already exists, get the one from 50 years ago that's in a better setting. That's exactly what she said to me.
One of the things I've been trying to do is keep the flow in my life.
Right.
I love the musical quote where Quincy Jones talks about the space where you don't play is where you're leaving room for God to come in the room, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's the closet. I've gotten that way with my closet. So when I add something, I like to force myself to give away something.
Love that.
And you just gave me a great idea too, because on tour it is difficult. This is the hypocritical part for us, is because especially when we're wearing suits or we're wearing a lot of stuff, and you're just burning through them.
Yeah.
But you kind of the giveaway idea, like as artists too, is a way for, especially if you can find like people that need it, and you're on the back of I like I get rid of one thing. When I pick up one thing, even
I
on
love
the road, I only have so much weight in the bag
totally.
that'll clear weight. So when I get something, I've always been like, oh, I don't want to put that in my bag. But now it's like, oh, cool, I could just gift it away on the replacement and find it from the thrift stores that's a redo. I love that. Thank
You know what I do is I pack one 50-pound suitcase, but I only pack it half the side, and then I
smart.
put my carry-on in there.
Little shake and bake. You
Yeah.
gotta fool
So
yourself.
then as I find stuff,
Yeah.
I can put it in my carry-on.
Yeah, there you go.
And you still have half of your suitcase.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
That's
I can
good,
take,
Maya.
Yeah.
So then I'm not paying a weight charge or whatever.
Yeah.
And I found this. I'll even give you one because I have an extra one. I get free stuff from Amazon if I review it through this program called
I
Amazon
love
Vine.
that.
So I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
But what I have
Wait
is
till-
this. It's a little.
she gets
amazing.
stuff. It's amazing.
Oh, it's the best.
It's the best.
Hey, Amazon. That's the
Shout
time
out. Shout out.
when Jeff Bezos be doing it and doing it well. Congratulations on your upcoming nuptials
Yeah,
and whatnot.
yeah.
Anyway, stop killing us though. Anyway.
Yeah. You can still get it though.
But Amazon Vine proper.
Wow.
Anyway, what I have is it folds down to the size of an envelope, but it expands to a duffel bag.
Oh.
Get it. Get
Wow.
I got 3 extras, so I'm gonna get you one.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
That's gonna be your gift for being on Slap.
Wow.
So do
See
you
that? But yeah, that's the other way. You just have to make a lot of friends, and so then they're like, "Oh my God, I have this thing. I'll give it to you." And then
Right.
I'm like, "Great, I don't have to buy it."
Yeah. That's fantastic. First of all, thank you for coming down.
Oh my gosh,
It
yeah.
is birthed out of a need that kind of came out of the pandemic. It came out of George Floyd. It came out of a need to feel like that we could actually, instead of just talking about the party and stuff like that with our music or trying to hit somebody like that, it's so much more interesting to me to try to raise some of these issues.
Yeah.
But we gotta blend with the kale that we're trying to put on the plate. We got to blend some chocolate cake too.
Ooh.
So
My favorite food.
we have a game. Let's shout out to Table Topics.
Table topics.
It can get you into a spicy chocolate cake. So the rules of the
Spicy,
game.
like Mexican chocolate cake.
So you have So the people that can't see this, it's an audio medium, I understand. So there are 3 cards that have been played that Kiarra, all of us, and Maya picked in the studio. The deal is here: you pick one.
we have not seen them yet.
You have not seen them
not
yet.
seen
Correct. And you pick one, and there's an open mic on, and we're rolling,
Oh.
and you have to answer it.
Okay.
Okay. And the only other rule of the game is you get one swap. We will turn it over to our esteemed guest.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
I just
so
flip one
you
of these
pick
over,
one. Yeah.
and I read the question.
You
Probably.
read the question. Yeah.
Oh. Ooh. Okay. What's the worst job you ever had? Oh man, that's hard because I feel like I have learned a lot in every job that I have had.
And don't say Eminem.
I know.
'cause
No, I could not.
It
It
will
was
break
so
Bree's heart.
fun.
So that gig was actually okay. Yeah.
That gig was so fun.
Okay, cool.
Worst is hard. I mean, actually, maybe this one, but only because of the personnel.
I thought you were saying this one, like
no,
having to come here.
oh my God, no. I was remembering.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had this beautiful destination gig, and it was in, I think it was Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, or very near to that.
Okay, this is already sounding like a white problem, but okay, you can keep going. with
I
it.
know.
Give me.
I know. The man that we were working for was a menace.
Oh.
And he made me cry in front of all the guests. It was a wedding, and they worked us pretty much the whole day. You guys know how this is when you go for a fly date, and then they don't give you any food, and then you're sitting out in the sun, and you're waiting to sound check, but nothing is built yet because
They're slow.
they're slow, and they haven't clearly communicated what they needed to the people who are building everything and everything. So it was one of those where it just was a total cacophony, and it should have been such a beautiful trip, such a beautiful wedding. And for me, it just felt like I was just really hurt because it sucked. It was
Yeah.
I was there
there's
for
so much of that too.
I
I've been
know.
noticing that on a lot of wedding gigs I'm on, I always feel like less and less I'm being treated like a person.
Yeah.
And they want me to be happy about that because I have a job, and I'm like, you must not know about me because I am not the one.
Yeah, I'm not the one.
Yes, Maya.
No,
Okay.
child. My
Yeah.
worst job was Hard Rock Cafe, hands down.
Where?
What did
Which
you
hard
do?
rock?
Or,
I worked at the one that is the defunct one now that was under the Beverly Center.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
I remember the day I walked out because a customer called me the N-word, and I went to my manager and I told him, and he was like, well, it might be a cultural difference, and there's just nothing we can do. I said, I officially quit because I'm about to kick this man's ass.
Wow.
And I don't want you to be liable for it. So I resign. Here you go.
just got chills.
And I went and I slapped the crap out of that man.
Yes.
Walked away and went home.
That's
Yes. Wow,
that's the
Maya.
thing about a wedding gigs
Yes.
too is I don't understand. I get it. I get it, how stressful they can be.
Totally.
The event. But it's losing sight of the fact why everybody's there.
Yeah, and
if
aren't
it's
we
really,
all
you're there for
there?
love?
Totally. And
Yeah.
we're all there to like support,
Right.
whether we're
Yeah.
getting paid or you're
So
just there as a guest.
It would
So
be even more to sort of juxtapose it over that is even more, just crushing. You're out there in the sun, you haven't eaten, and
And that's totally a cultural thing, because I promise you, if you do like a Persian or an Armenian wedding, you are not treated that way. They have a table for you. You are treated as an
Yeah.
honored guest.
Yeah, yeah.
It's true.
They, everything is taken care of. They pay
Yeah.
you in cash.
It's wild. Oh,
Shout out to my
cash.
Armenian Persian communities, because y'all come
Yeah.
through with
Yeah.
the come through.
Yeah.
And y'all's chicken is delicious. Okay.
Okay.
What was yours?
My worst
yeah.
gig was I was 14, and so on the weekends they would have the paper that they would, but it was the newspaper, the Tampa Tribune. Shout out to Tampa. But it was you had to put it together in three things. So we would actually start working at 1 a.m, and then you start putting them all together. And by 5, your hands
Yeah.
are just all black, and you're lifting these bales
Yeah.
of paper and everything. But it's funny as I think about it as my sort of on paper worst gig. But now, especially for me after the pandemic, I've realized that everything is
Right.
Everything is a gift. Everything is a gift, and even that was a gift.
Yeah.
For me, because
Yeah.
I did that for probably a year and a half to get money, and it was just and it was character building for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, we now say at all of our performances that we are so incredibly grateful to the audience, just because we do not take this job for granted,
Hell
even
no.
though like we maybe did in the past,
Absolutely, yeah.
But oh my god,
And
just being
energy-
able to share space is like,
yeah.
yay.
That part, because
Yeah.
especially for the wedding gigs, I'm like, even
Yeah.
though the wedding promoter or whatever has treated me
Yeah.
terribly, I'm still the only person not reading off an iPad. I'm
Fully.
performing to my fullest
Yeah, yeah,
capability.
yeah.
You deserve that.
That's because you got a pornographic
Absolutely.
memory, though.
That's fair.
So, all right, Maya,
Okay,
draw
Maya.
Going from the middle,
one. Oh, okay,
because I'm
okay.
just being
That's right.
different today. If you live to be 100, would you rather have a sharp mind or a fit body? Sharp mind, hands down.
Yeah, yeah.
I think same.
Same. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go lefty.
You know why though? I
No,
feel
tell
like
me.
if you have a sharp mind, you also have a fit body.
Right.
Right. I feel like that.
I don't
comes
feel like they
before
don't-
You can't-
yeah,
You have to have
boom.
that.
Right.
Yeah. And if you have a sharp mind, you would just be compelled.
Right. Totally.
Yeah, so, all right,
Yeah.
I'm going lefty here.
Okay,
'cause
lefty.
For the lefties.
Lefty loosey.
All right. Have you ever had an experience that led you to believe in angels or ghosts? I like that question because my mom is Cuban and very we grew up very Catholic, and I learned about intuition when I was young, and because my mom famously, there's a story where every once in a while when she gets some sort of premonition, it comes out of nowhere. And she knows it when it's that thing to believe in. And she had a story when she was little that was told to me by her cousin, and because he was there and privy to it. But she basically hid her parents' passports. They were taking a trip to Cuba from Miami to Cuba, and she hid the passports. And the little jumper plane, they got to the airport. They didn't have their passports. She hid her mother and father's passports, and the plane actually went down and crashed. There was ever since then they were pissed at her that she hid until it was, I think it was whatever, later in the day or something. And from there I've seen over and over again examples of energy and how you know, energy is everything. So people call it ghosts. You know, some people call it, you know, spirits. I like what like quantum physicists call it, the field, like whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but I believe in energy, and the more we can stay open to the energy, I think it's not ghosts. It's just, you know, it's
Energy
that energy.
doesn't die.
Energy does not die. It
Yeah.
only gets transferred. So I'm here for it. Those
Yeah.
are my ghosts.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Almost with angels too. I'm
Yeah.
just so reassured so frequently on the angels that are,
Oh,
that are
yeah.
out there
Oh,
that
yeah.
I just
Oh, yeah.
I can't. Yeah, I can't.
Angels have definitely gotten me by.
Yeah.
And I definitely believe in God, I think.
Yeah.
Because of how much angels have gotten me by.
Yeah.
Like when people are like, you know, what makes you believe in God if you can't see it or touch whatever? I was like, but I have heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know I survived a car accident because God told me what to do.
Wow.
And I know that that's what happened because my throttle cable came loose, and I was driving near around UCLA when it happened, around like 11 o'clock at night. And my throttle cable came loose. My car accelerated to 90 miles an hour, and I couldn't stop. And it started smoking, so I couldn't see. So I rolled down my window, and I was like I was honking at people, like scared I was going to hit them. I had no idea what I was going to do, and I was like, God, I don't know.
Yeah.
Please help me. And on I had a Saturn at the time, and on my dashboard, it looked like a TV appeared. And on that TV was an episode of Oprah Winfrey. And there was a woman explaining how OnStar saved her life by having her put her car in neutral because her brakes went out. And I saw that. And I did that. And I came just 2 inches before hitting a tree, got out, called AAA to have myself towed, and they were like, we're so sorry, there's an accident, so we're like at least an hour away. And I could see up ahead, right, on the opposite side of the median, because I was headed eastbound, but on the westbound side of the median on Sunset, not that far from where BOA is, right?
yeah.
I could see a mound, right? And it just looked like a heap of clothes. Turned out there was a jogger that had been hit by a car.
Oh my God.
And I stopped, and that person was hit moments before I stopped.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So yeah,
Yeah.
God told me what to do.
Fully.
Yeah. Fully.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
How
Oh
about
my
you?
gosh. Well, maybe fortunately I don't have anything that dramatic. My God, Maya.
I know.
Oh.
I know.
I think I haven't felt the sort of like angel energy presence more than in the last like 4.5 years since my dad passed. He was a really big meditator, really big like really connected to the earth, connected to his surroundings, connected to nature. And I feel like nature has just been like popping off for me in these last like few years. And I really feel like it's like him. We, at this new property that we've been there for 2 years, but like the first time I went to look at it, I walked up the hill and there were just like 2 hawks circling the house. And I see them, well, I don't know if they're the same hawks, but I see hawks like so much around there. And then just a few weeks ago, I played at the Hollywood Bowl. I was the soloist, and it was on my dad's birthday.
Name
I
drop.
love that.
Name drop.
Location drop.
I've never heard of the Hollywood Bowl. Where is
yeah.
it?
Where is
what
this Hollywood
is
Bowl?
that?
What is that?
But it was on my dad's birthday, and as we finished sound check, like obviously that was a big like thing for me. I had never done anything like that.
Yeah.
I like walked back towards my dressing room, and there was like a hawk circling.
Stop it.
So I just feel him, I guess. And he wrote on a stone that I have at my meditation station at home. It just says seek guidance from within. Like he wrote it like in a pen on this rock. And that just feels really like powerful to me, I guess. So yeah, I love the idea of like intention and energy and
Yes, ma'am.
angels, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Well, I feel like we could go on and talk to you forever and
Yeah.
a day, but we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let's just say where people can find you.
Yeah.
What are the best ways that people can listen to your music, find out more about what you have to offer? What you got?
Oh, thanks.
Please.
Okay,
Pimp-
so
pimp away.
all right, amazing.
Pimp moment.
On
Big pimpin', spinning cheese.
Instagram, I am the Kiarra Ana, so KIARAANA. And then my quartet is Orchid Quartet, at Orchid Quartet everywhere. We have
Ridiculous.
lots of thank
So
you.
amazing.
Thank
Ridiculous.
you.
Yeah.
We have lots of really fun concerts coming up here in Los Angeles. So come out. If you're local, come out and see us. You can just go to our website to see what's coming up there. A lot of our website's orchidquartet.com, and my website's kiarraanna.com.
And I presume you have lots of sustainable and only sustainable options on.
We have merch on our website. We definitely need to update it, but yes, we have merch on our website, and we'd love to see you at a show. You can also stream our music, and yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Get
Thank you
swapping.
again. And thank you again so
gosh.
much. This has been a wonderful conversation. And I think for me anyway, I'm coming away feeling more positive about the situation. So thank you for adding to that positivity.
Yeah. I also have found that I follow a bunch of these sort of like capsule wardrobe people or like really thrifty. There's also online thrift stores if you live
Thread
in
Up.
ThredUp.
The Real.
Totally, for higher end stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So all of these options are so great. Like if you feel like you've never found anything in a thrift store, or Poshmark is amazing.
Yeah, Poshmark is fantastic.
Yeah.
And like I'm married to somebody who he just like doesn't like looking through racks. Like it's kind of meditative for me to go to the
because
Goodwill.
there's only one section of the store that has all black.
Exactly, right. That's
it.
For sure.
Wow, my man. Holla at your boy. Holla at your boy.
Maybe we can get him into a gray this year. Like maybe we could just upgrade a Sousson.
I'm trying.
No,
but yeah, I think like following people that are inspiring, that are doing this kind of work, is amazing, because it's true that the trends are upticking, because I think fashion's moving even faster than it ever has before, which is like cool and exciting, but also like not great for the fast fashion thing, because everything's just being pumped out more. However, I think there's a lot of hope, because we have so much. We are able to connect so much on the internet and with other people and get inspired that way.
That's the key.
I also see that, like, because of shows like Secession and things like this, there's also an uptick in this thing called quiet luxury. So while I'm like, okay, a baseball cap does not need to be $625, sir, but it is kind of nice that we're looking at things that are made with a little bit better materials that cost a little bit more, but the idea is that you will keep it for longer. So it's not about how flashy it is or the name brand.
And
Quality
it's a
over
piece.
quantity.
It's not
Yes.
disposable, right? It
Exactly.
turns into and the disposable part is the real big problem.
Absolutely.
And
because we're not disposing of it.
No,
Right.
and we want to keep a piece and trade it at the clothing,
Fantastic.
swaps and stuff. So thank you.
Oh my gosh,
It's
thank
been
you
several
so
years
much.
since I've actually seen you in
I
person, and it's
know.
just I love let's do it some more.
Yes,
and hopefully,
please.
and
Thanks for doing everything that you two are doing. This is amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
No. We'll have, one of the things is we wanted to define the problem, but also give people a way that they can kind of help themselves. And we'll have as much as we can in the show notes where people, if they want to do anything, they want to get in touch and show up at her house, her address, we're going to make sure and put it on the website.
In the show notes,
That's right.
Don't
you
worry
can see
about
the
it.
hawks and everything. And come on and get you some clothes on your way out. Thank you,
Stalkers
Kiarra.
unite.
Thank you,
so
thank you.
Thank you
Stalkers
both
unite.
so much.
Yeah, thank you. This has been great.
Thank you again.
Bye.
Slap the Power is written and produced by Rick Barrio-Dill and Maya Sykes. Executive producer Duff Ferguson. Our senior producer is Sabrina Seward. Associate producer Bree Corey. Audio and visual engineering and studio facilities provided by Slap Studios LA, with distribution through our collective home for social progress in art, Slap the Network. If you have any ideas for a show you want to hear or see, or if you would like to be a guest artist on our show, please email us at info@slapthepower.com.